Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. It looks like we are live for the first time for RKEO.
Finally, after months and months
Yeah.
of talking.
Yes. And that is what we're doing. It's first, folks. It's been a long time since I've been on the air. Some of you know.
Wait, hold on. Should we explain to the folks why it's been a long time since you've been on the air? I mean, if you don't mind, I think it's an interesting story.
No, you're right. For some of you, I've been on Dark Hour Paranormal and Michigan UFO and a number of other podcasts. And
Can I interrupt and just say he died?
So I did bring that. Michael Roser had me on, and a few people. I did go on to explain a little bit, but for most of you do not know, I did die 7 times. And I figured if life is like being a cat, maybe a cat earns interest and I can get back from 9 to maybe like 9.8 lives or 10.7. And so I did go to the other side. Kristi has some great ideas about how to jog my memory. So when I died, okay, so for everyone that's listening, so the last Memorial Day, I had a Widowmaker heart attack. I died. I was dead. I died 7 times. I was dead clinically for 45 minutes. And they brought me back and I was in a coma, and everyone wants to know what was the other side like. And the problem is that they put me on so many drugs I don't remember. So Kristi has some brilliant ideas for me to recall that. And one of the ideas, in fact, we haven't even had a chance to talk about this together privately, but one of the thoughts is, and I've done some research into it in the last few days, is that maybe jogging those memories that were deleted because of the drugs they put me in the coma, maybe something, I don't know, Kristi, this is a question for you. Do you think maybe ayahuasca could jump my memory from that period?
The things ayahuasca can do just doesn't shock me. So she could possibly jog your memory. She possibly could. Or she could show you other things. I have no idea. We don't know what's going to happen once we have a sip.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that I was dead, and the way the hospital does it now is they use a cocktail of drugs, and they figure that you'll be better through the trauma if you wake up and you don't remember what happened. And so we've thought of hypnotism. There's a number of different methodologies for that too, but for me to recall that event and for me to give everybody info about the other side, the dark hour, the paranormal world wants to know, basically everybody wants to know. And Kristi was one of the first people to say, we got to figure out how to recall your memory. And my smell's coming back. It's been 15 months and my smell and my taste have been totally screwed.
I can't imagine, because eggs haven't tasted the same to me since COVID, and that was just a few years ago. So
that's awful.
Not being able to smell for 15 years. That's ew. Yeah. But I mean, you're alive.
Yeah, no, it's only been 15 months. Yeah,
15 months, not years.
Which is what what Kristi said is exactly true. 15 years is what it's felt like. I hate it.
I can imagine. Food must be such a disappointment.
Yeah, the condition of being dead, lots for physical rehab, lots for a number of. By the way, this is our first time going live, and bear with us. I can hear myself through your mic. Just so you know, I'm getting feedback from your mic with wherever your monitor is. So everything I'm saying, I'm hearing repeated back to me. And I'm only saying this because Kristi's in charge and she'll get mad at me later if we don't fix this.
I will, because this would be like the millionth time.
And it's mostly because, we obviously, when we're talking to you, we have our mics, but we also have to have a monitor, and it's usually, if it's placed in the right spot, you can, it'll broadcast into the mic. And so sorry for the technicals, everyone, but yeah, while she's working on that, maybe I'll just say a couple more things about being dead. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, maybe I should. I know you're busy trying to do stuff, but really I should ask What were your thoughts when you found out I was?
Mine?
Yeah, people try all sorts of stuff. I mean, why not trying dead?
Man, well, I had already gone down the NDE rabbit hole. The first book I read was Embraced by the Light, and it was written in like, I don't know, the 70s or the 80s, and this woman had a hysterectomy. No. Yeah, she had a hysterectomy after having like 7 kids, and she died. And when she came back, she wrote about her experience. So that set me on the whole reading about all of these near-death experiences and what people experience on the other side, which, you know, leads to other questions. You can't jump on the other side of things without asking, well, what was there? What did you see? You know, what was it like? What did you feel? What did you experience? You know, where are we going? Which once you start down that trail, it just leads you right back to, well, then where did we come from? And then it's, why are we here? And then
Yeah.
you know, and then it just never stops. It just keeps going. Okay, now the situation that we're having here.
No, you fixed it. You see how she seamlessly fixed that, and we just kept going? That's what you did. Or maybe not.
Did I fix it?
I thought so, but okay. Now it's intermittent, but now it's way better. Oh, no, I just heard myself say that.
Are you speaking into my computer?
Is my voice coming out of your computer behind your mic?
I forgot to plug my speaker in. That's why it's sitting right here. Remember?
So more mystery behind all this is that we've been doing a really hard it's been a really hard year and a half. Some people would just recover slowly from like a heart attack or something like that, and mine was a widowmaker, which kills 91% of the people who get them, and less than 20% are cognitive when they come back. So it is no less than an actual miracle that I'm here. For those interested, there's a short few-minute documentary, which we could probably add into a final link, for Hennepin County Medical Center. That's the Minneapolis big mothership of great hospitals. It's here in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, and there's a documentary about. There's actually a number of videos about me going through this, and you'll probably enjoy it. I do want to explain to fans. I've been out in the field. We've been back to Belize. Kristi and I are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but for now, I want you to know that I've been thinking about all of you, and I've certainly, been looking forward to being back on a regular podcasting schedule. And you're going to see me on a lot of shows. You'll see me in person in a few places, and now we get to do it with Kristi too, while I listen to myself talk, which is just imminently about to be fixed.
I hope so.
And yes, it's not. I know it's not been your guys' experience. You know, I was really consistent, but that's really what happened 15 months ago. I just had to do a lot of it and then get back in the field. And I had a lot of momentum around a lot of explorations and experiments and things that were going on, including our first expedition to Belize, where we were looking for Mayan ruins. We were using satellite imaging to locate, and it wasn't exactly LiDAR. The satellite imaging uses a different kind of light spectrum. But we are going to go back and do more, and for now, we're going to talk to you more about RKEO, which is not aliens, which is also Michael Roser, Dark Hour Paranormal, which is also Wayne Braden from Michigan UFO Sightings, and Michelle. And we will be doing shows on RKEO and on both. And you just cut in whatever the hell you want, because
the next one we're doing is Sunday. Right.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna, which my understanding is we're gonna do it on Wayne's show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is funny. I just made up a funny. Are you ready for this one?
I can't wait. Go for it.
And you guys, if you watch the show or you know what's going on, or what you Google it. I have a Brazilian questions.
Okay. Hey, so before you do that,
it's not a funny situation, okay? It's not
Wait,
funny.
tell me.
You don't know. You know? You don't know.
No. What funny situation?
I can't tell you on this show.
Oh.
Aliens are eating people in Brazil. So I need to know what's going on, you know?
So for everyone listening, I'm going to show Kristi, I'm going to show you something as soon as, for everyone, my StreamYard skills have been greatly hindered. That's what you'll get out of dying, is apparently you can't just seamlessly share something, which I am share screen. Let's see if I can do this.
So one really fascinating thing that I'm sort of excited about is that sunken city off the coast of Cuba. We got in touch with the guy, the couple that that made the discovery. And so I'm hoping that maybe we can get them on the show. I think that would be really fun to see if they would be interested in coming on and telling us what their experience was like.
I wanted to share this with everyone. Oh boy, I don't think it liked that.
That's like one of those mirrors when you're like in one of those fun houses and you just.
Well, here's what I was going to have you do. If for everyone listening, if you go to RKEOX.com and go under all videos, you will be able to watch us live from RKEOX.com. So, I don't know, Kristi, you want to give it a shot quick before we actually start having fun and talking?
Give it a shot to see if my audio's fixed.
Oh, are you still? I apologize. You're still working on that, right?
Can you hear me? Can you hear you?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
No, I can't hear me now. You're good. Oh.
Can you hear you?
I don't think I can hear me. Nope.
Okay.
I can't hear me. So what I wanted everybody to do who's watching,
Let's tell them what we're doing.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube right now, if you're on Not Aliens, which I understand you're on Not Aliens, if you're confused, you're going to go to RKEOX.com. And under the home screen on RKEOX.com, you will see our current show live on our website. But you're going to see more of it. There's going to be an RQX channel. And we're going to talk more about what's coming up on Sunday on Wayne's show on Michigan UFO sightings. Thank you, Kristi, for setting that up. Yeah. So now, I guess now that all the audio is working right, I shouldn't even tell you that I can hear myself again. Should I? So we should just.
I'm holding the speaker in my hand and I'm like, why isn't it connecting?
Is it a USB?
Yeah, but they're all taken up by all of the other things that are plugged in.
Do you have an audio out directly from the laptop?
I'm looking. Hold on.
Like an actual hard little audio in for earphones?
What does that help?
Yeah, so like you could plug the speaker directly in like their headphones, and if you had a wire to the speaker, and then you could just plug into the audio in or audio out if you're like watching a show with just some wired headphones. Or is it that's an option?
There's so many options.
So one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, guys, is
now can you hear yourself?
Actually, no, I cannot. Oh my gosh. Hey. Thank you guys for bearing with us while we're working this out. You got it?
Shit.
It sounds like you got it. I can hear you, and I can't hear me. So besides running through the jungle and exploring for ruins and trying to figure out the mysteries of the universe, along with all the other things that we're doing, Kristi and I are going to be going over a lot of things with you guys over the next however long we do this for podcasts. Oh, now I can hear myself. We're having fun with computing, but we just want to have fun with you, the guest, the listener.
Let me go get the speaker that it's trying to connect to. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thanks for waiting on this. So some of the things that we're doing, and it's too funny because her mic is still there and I can still hear us talking. Please bear with us. So what we're doing is not stopping now. We have a number of expeditions and things planned in the field. It's going to be exciting. We'll be talking to you live from those things. We'll be doing podcasts with some great guests. Kristi and I have already recorded with Michael Cremo. He has a new book coming out in February. Michael Cremo's latest work, his 10th book, which is going to be a great follow-up to Human De-Evolution. That is coming out, and I'm really excited about it. I think you guys should be too. If you do not have a copy of Forbidden Archaeology, it's definitely one of those things that you have to have in your library, period. Forbidden Archaeology lists many actual archaeological finds, paleoanthropological finds of human antiquity that show over 120 million, 60 million, multiple millions of years and hundreds of thousands of years of human anatomically correct human finds. So we have some great interviews with him, and that will be posting in between our live shows. So you could just we need to come up with a code and let me know when you're actually I'll just assume that we're not done yet because I can hear myself talking. I will just keep talking. And although the MDMA, I would like to I am
MDMA.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not thinking of MMA.
Fighting?
I was about to bring up something else, but I was going to try to just say a couple more things while you work on that speaker quick.
Sorry. We went from MDMA, which is a drug, to MMA, which is fighting.
Yeah, we were going to stick with.
I was really confused. I didn't know what we were talking about. That's
for everyone listening, of course, for our YouTube communities, we are not endorsing the use of any sort of illegal narcotics or of experimental. Our first podcast is to not get booted off of the channel while we have bad audio.
Leave it to me.
This is one of those things where, well, I have told a few people that we're going to be on tonight. I'm assuming you told a few people that we're going to be on tonight. Did you tell them to go to rqx.com?
I did. Did you?
Yeah. So we definitely have some live people listening tonight. We're going to do our best to get out the schedule on the site and, of course, to let you know what we're going to have for upcoming guests. I love listening to myself talk.
Did you still? You're plugged into a speaker over here.
Yeah. But I thought maybe if I talk quieter, but no. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm trying not to talk loud, folks, but
can you hear you?
I cannot hear me.
Okay, problem solved.
What did you do? Everybody wants to know how.
That's a trade secret.
This is why we have what's called soft launches. This is why we can have some fun the first time because
because you get to work out all the kinks in front of everybody, because it's really the only way to do it is to just jump in with both feet, get them wet, ground a little bit, reach up for some air, not be able to get it, and then kick really, really, really hard to the top.
And we're going to do a combination of live shows. And we're also, we did that pre-record with Michael Cremo, and I was telling everybody a little bit about it when he stepped out and just all the great stuff. And, his book comes out next month, his 10th book. I talked a little bit about some of the, we'll have some more prepackaged, edited, some real bookend interviews for you, like with Michael and many other people coming up. And we're going to guest on some other shows, but we'll obviously not always be talking about our technical issues.
No, this will be a first and last. Sorry about it, guys. It's really my fault. Like, I wasn't ready. Leave it to the woman to be running late, can't get her shit together. Like, just...
Now, hold on. She's throwing herself under the bus. The reality is that there was a lot of things I had to work out for us to get going tonight. So she's making some great excuses, but they're not what happened. This is just, you are along for the ride. This is just like field work. This is like digging into the completely wrong hole in a jungle when you need to dig a different hole. And she's done.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Your camera keeps focusing and focusing and focusing and focusing, and it's been doing it the whole time.
I think now. If I don't move right now, does it do it?
Yeah.
It's doing it right now. Yeah.
No.
Okay, it doesn't like when I move. So if I just sit still and be a talking
stoic.
Someone said that to me once before. I've been practicing stoicism. It is really hard if everyone's wondering. It depends.
It's doing it. It's doing it.
Right now?
That's a camera setting. You're going to have to work on that. We'll do that next show, guys. That's going to be fixed next show. We're not going to, we're working out the kinks here. This is the first one. That is why it's called a soft launch. So please grant us some grace.
Oh, I caught it. I wonder if I have to sit back.
Like, why do you have your hands on your hips? Like you're like, who does that, Batman?
What I'm doing now is I'm looking at the screen, seeing if I get further away. So talking to you guys, I'm over here, but in order for me to see anything, I have to look left. But yeah, now it's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Don't know.
Okay,
anyway,
bummer.
So I think we should talk a little bit about what RKEOX is.
Yeah, you start.
Because that's something that whenever I was introduced to RKEOX, I didn't even fully comprehend or understand the full, breadth and depth of all of it until I made it to Belize and just dug in. So, maybe that should be explained.
You want me to start or?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
You are the brains behind the madness.
Yes. Thanks. It's officially my fault.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of RKEOX came along with when I wrote Not Aliens, It's Not Aliens, Worse It's Us Discovering Our Lost History. The process all along for us to discover our entire mysterious past, I thought there'd be two directions for that. One is we talk about it, we do some documentaries, and we give you something to watch that can actually, and an open space like on our channels to dialogue about why does the paranormal and the religious things and the quantum things and the science things, there seems to be so many overlaps with all these systems that also tie into our history, the downloads people get, the common human connections, but all of it really relates. It's not just archaeological. It's not just the mummies we find and the buildings we uncover. The idea of RKEOX was to cover holistically the field work and table all these other questions in these other fields and say, hey, look, our past is more extensive and lengthy than we've been thinking it is. And part of that, all the pieces that would help us put it together are in all these other categories that people don't think are often related. So RKEOX came together as an idea for a team that we're still putting together. And Kristi and I are part of that. There's Michael Roser from Dark Hour, Wayne Braden from Michigan UFO Sightings, but there are a number of other people that are involved, LiDAR people. There are people behind the scenes that are capable of doing the ground penetrating radar and all the other stuff. And that helps us in the field to find whether it's Mayan ruins or if we're going to Peru and exploring the actual finds. But what we're also able to do then is go into this esoteric area. So this is not strictly just archaeological. It has nothing to do with, a little bit to do with, we're going to be doing these expeditions, and we're going to be, whether it's the desert, the jungle, the rainforest, wherever we're going to find these places. But the other side of it, and one of the things that I really appreciate about Kristi is, and it's a good thing. It dovetails in with Michael Roser and his ability to dig into the paranormal and everything else. But the background disciplines of the people involved in RKEO was to help table answers by exploring the questions around who we were, who we are, and not just separate all the subjects. So RKEO is a big endeavor to discover our past through actual exploration, experiments, and through you watching, listening, having questions, etc. Is that
dialogue? Good? Yeah, ongoing dialogue, and I think that that's what we're missing. I think that I think there are communities out there, but I don't know. I think that there's a lot of us that are just kind of separate from those communities and are just kind of finding our way, which is kind of how we connected, was through LiDAR. And then just through talking on the phone, just like you said, you can't really talk about ancient archaeology without getting into human antiquity, and then you start asking the questions like, well, where do you think we came from? Well, where do you think we came from? Well, what do you think's on the other side of that veil? And are we living in a matrix? And is this a holographic experience we're having? Are we just a bunch of robots? Like what's going on here? I don't. And that's what's so funny is I just don't think it's like a midlife crisis thing. I think what happens is not a midlife crisis. When people in the 60s and 70s were like all about mind-altering substances, that's what we'll call them. When they were all about these mind-altering substances, and it was those same people who were preaching love and peace. Why can't we love each other? Why can't we, and it's because I feel like, what happens is those chemicals might do something with that pineal gland back here. It might open something up. I don't know. It's just a theory. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. It's not peer reviewed. It's not been researched. I have no idea.
We're not recommending anyone to do it.
We're not recommending anyone go do it. No, we're not doing any of that. But we are talking about the possibility. It is a possibility, and then all of a sudden you get a president that comes in and is like, this is your brain on drugs with the, like fried egg in the skillet on the pan and scares the shit out of everybody. So then it was like everybody in the 80s and the 90s were like terrified, because it's just like, oh my God, I'm going to do it once and die. I'm going to melt, my brain's going to melt out of my ears. But so you can't really, you can't, it's all connected. Consciousness, ancient archaeology, human antiquity, it's all connected, like when we talk about, everything from water, from earth, from all of the elements, it's all connected. We're all connected to each other. Everything is connected.
Yeah, and that's a perfect point. As just a micro example, in the water, the Victor Schauberger, who's accredited with one of the greatest naturalists in history, and I know I quoted him in my book, and I talk about him. There's some great documentaries about him. But when he developed his observations about water. On one hand, he's called this naturalist. In reality, he's more of a quantum guy. He's talking about the way water runs in a vortex, and it's like, okay, well, that's not quantum, but the behavior of water. And Victor Schauberger is just almost the first ring down, and he's already really deep down the rabbit hole about what is the true personality and consciousness around water, because then we get into Emoto Marsuro and the idea of words and energy around water. But then there's the guy who discovered AIDS from France. There's whole documentaries about him here on YouTube about water eerily holding memory. And that's just one example. The idea of how does that then, and all the ways that some dynastic cultures and societies kind of, they mystified it, they deified it, and everyone has a family of origin story, but so we all see things through our own colored lenses. But again, RKEO is just one of those things for you guys to come to with all the questions, and Kristi and I are going to try to kind of work them all out individually at a time.
Dig in. That's what we want to do, is dig in and know the answers. I want to know the answers. And that's true about water. You can speak into water. You can speak positivity into water. It changes shapes.
Yeah.
It's tested under it's science. It's science.
Yeah.
It's science.
Yep. And we either label it a mystery or we say, oh, that's neat or interesting. But again,
we don't talk about it.
No, and we don't. And the great thing, and which I find really exciting about the work we're doing within RKEO, which of course includes Kristi, is that we are the kind of people who are going to put a lot of stuff to the test. We're not going to jump off the bridge with everybody, but the reality is that we're putting a lot of these experiments to personal experimentation is how a lot of this is going to be figured out. Is if you got to jump into some of these consciousness rings, your mind, body, all the layers are the antennas, the receivers and senders. We have this connection to this plane right now, and we're going to explore that. We're going to have some people who are into the dimensions of what is existence, but also what are some of the cool, exciting Raiders of the Lost Ark stuff. And
also we're talking about dimensions, and I'm hearing all of these, like Dolores Cannon. I follow her. I think she's just an amazing lady, and she talks a lot lately about shifting from the old Earth to the new Earth, and from the 3D to the 5D, and I learn stuff from her all the time. But I do think that right now we're plugged into 3D situation, but I think that there are a lot of us that are waking up and realizing, asking these bigger questions and wanting to know these answers, that are just feeling on the inside like something's just not quite right,
Right.
And then once you start digging and you get into that rabbit hole, then you find yourself where does it ever end? Does it ever end? I don't think it does.
No, you made a really good point a couple times already. For those that are, I know that there's a lot of people who they have a lot of pieces. They've figured a lot of things. They're really excited. But Kristi made a really good point about there are a lot of you that are going to join us for these podcasts, and we want to make it accessible and available for the people who are just getting excited and just learning, just waking up and just learning about all the things. And so some of this stuff can fly over. We'll have our links. We'll have stuff in the descriptions. Maybe we'll even throw some stuff together specifically for, hey, here's a 1-2 for beginners or whatever. But these conversations are really big, and the only way to process through it is we just share it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Collectively, we talk about it, we share it, we talk about it, we do the journey together, and you're not crazy. That's the first thing you have to know, is that you're not crazy. I remember when I first started talking to people about it, was like, whoa, I don't talk about this. This is not something you talk about.
No, not at all.
I sound insane. And so I think that that's important, that that when you get these feelings on the inside and you're starting to feel like I don't know, whatever age you are, that just like, I don't know, something just doesn't feel right. Something isn't right about my life or about the way I feel or about the way I'm living or just whatever it is. Like, you're not crazy. You're not crazy at all. You're just waking up. That's all. You're just unplugging from the matrix and realizing that you're not a robot anymore and you want to know more. And this is the place to go. Like, this is a safe place, a non-judgmental place that you can come to and you can ask any questions that you want and challenge us. Like, I would love to be challenged. I love a good challenge. So bring that our way. Like, challenge us, ask us the questions, make us do the research. That's what we want. That's what we want. And we're not just doing, simple Wikipedia research either, by the way. We're making sure it's peer reviewed and tested, if not field tested. So we would love information on, sites that are suspicious, especially if they're in the States and easily accessible. That would be awesome. What do you think?
Yes. I was looking to see if I could actually get in on the comments on the YouTube side of this, but I think that we'll just stick with the chat right now, which is exactly what Kristi said. I think that there's so many people who sometimes they're waking up, they have these questions and they don't know if they should ask them because some of the conversations gets so deep so fast that it's hard to feel like you keep up or that you're able to get your thoughts in there when sometimes there's so many rabbit holes to go down and without having the patience to get settled with your questions are good and they're just as relevant and there's a loop back. It's not like you reach a level and you don't have the same questions or a simpler question. Okay. You're always going to have simple questions. Everyone does.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true. And also there are no stupid questions. Like, I know that sounds so cliche, but there are no stupid questions, especially when it comes to waking up. Like, there aren't. It's painful. That's for sure.
Can be, but it can be good.
100%.
Hey, look, we're
not discouraging it. We're actually here to encourage it.
Okay, but in your experience, how many could you even say how many times it's been positive or negative?
Oh man, it's such a roller coaster. I mean, it started for me in like 13, 14. And for me, it was more of like a religious versus spiritual awakening. I started doing mission work and things just weren't sitting right, weren't resonating as truth to me. So I just started, kind of pulling away a little bit. We ended up changing churches. And well, actually that's where we started doing the mission work. And there were a lot of things that just sermons that weren't resonating, like scripture wasn't resonating, like just certain things just didn't feel right and true. And that is, for me, it was easier to separate myself from that because I was not raised in church. So I didn't have that indoctrination from the beginning. I wasn't raised in church and I didn't get all of that, programming from the beginning. And so it was easier for me to take a step back and go, oh, this doesn't feel right. Something's not right about this. Like, I need to dig into this a little bit more. And then there was a brief period there was a few years of, we had a move. And, so there was a few years where I was just kind of sucked back into life. And then, all of a sudden there was just I guess it was in 2022, there was a life-changing event. And then in 23, I ended up in the Andes on ayahuasca. So there was that. And a month later, I was in Peru. I spent 2 weeks learning how to facilitate breath work because I felt like that medium was just as healing and as important as the plant medicine itself. So in a nutshell, but I am like, I don't even know if there were a scale you could say like a healing journey is like this long, and I'm like right here. No, it's not. It's like an infinity long, and I feel like I'm like an inch. I've made it about an inch.
Well, you've got, I think you should back up for a minute for people that don't know. What kind of breath work did you do while you were down there?
So I only did it once, and it was with a German man named Peter. He was amazing, and I had no idea what kind of breath work it was, but it was the most bizarre experience I'd ever had.
Why? You gotta tell me why.
God, it was just insane. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. So I'm laying there and I'm breathing as he's instructing me to breathe. And about halfway through, I start getting that like nervous feeling in my stomach. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this. I don't like it. It's freaking me out. I don't like the way it's making me feel. And he's like, no, stay with it. Keep breathing. And this man was just so kind, like he reminded me of almost like if I had a really, really kind German dad is what he reminded me of. And it was almost like I didn't want to disappoint him.
Oh, is that good?
So I'm like, yeah. So I stuck with it. And then all of a sudden, like my hands started locking up, cramping up. Like I was drawing up my toes, like everything was coming together and drawing up, and I was still trying. He was like, and he told me before that might happen, and he was telling me to breathe through it, and I was breathing through it. And then once the retention was over and I was able to relax and everything, just all the muscles and everything relaxed, I just wept. Like I hadn't wept in years like that. Like I just wept, and it was the most cleansing. Like it was just so cleansing, and it was almost like I was expelling stuck emotions in my cells. It was like my cellular network was purging stuck emotions, that some of them maybe weren't even my own. It might have been ancestral. It might have been from my parents. I have no idea. But all I know is I was shocked. And I knew that day, I was like, I'm going to learn how to teach people to do this. Like, I want to learn how to teach people to do whatever that was, because it was that profound.
So I back up for a minute and tell people a little about, I'm curious about what was, okay, for some people, there's the ethereal side of it, but what was the mechanical side of it? Could you start with that? Like, what was so amazing, or what hit you on the mechanical side? And then also, like, you have a physical and then you have a mental.
Like the only thing that I can really describe it as is like I could feel like the time about halfway through when I was ready to stop, when I got that nervous feeling in my stomach and I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this anymore. I started feeling this tingling sensation all over my body. I knew it's like the cramping had started. Like I knew I was starting to tense up. I was starting to freak out, and it scared me. Like that was basically the mechanics of it. Like I was breathing so deep and so hard. I was inhaling so much oxygen into my lungs, and the retentions were longer and longer. And it was just it was 4 rounds. I believe it was 4 rounds. And the fourth round was the one that I just completely locked up. Wow. Like completely locked up. But like I said, it was so profoundly healing that 4 weeks later I was in Peru learning how to facilitate for other people.
All right.
But you have a lot of experience with Wim Hof. You actually have personal experience
Yeah,
with Wim
with him.
Hof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I've been in the right place at the right time for some stuff. And I had a friend with he had a neurological spinal condition, and he had been practicing it, and he had gone out seeking healers. And I didn't know anything about him. And Wim Hof was just coming of age, and it was just getting on everyone's on the consciousness in the front. And he just said, "Have you heard of him?" And the next thing I know, the first time he comes to America was at Treasure Island in San Francisco. It is an island, and it's called Treasure Island. And me and some climbing friends, we went and joined about 140 people and got to be there with Wim Hof and his daughter, and we got to learn directly how to do it from him. And my idea of practicing prior to not having, okay, so you got to picture us. There's 4 of us. I don't think I've ever told you this. There's 4 of us. None of us have ever actually done it. Like, we didn't YouTube it. We didn't do anything. And mind you, everyone, folks, this is like 7.5, 8 years ago, give or take. I think whenever that was, people can look it up, internet sleuth it. But here we are, not having done it. My friend lives in the mountains, so there are ice cold rivers. And so to get ready for Wim Hof, to do Wim Hof in these, and if you've ever seen any of the videos where he does the group things, there's like little mini kiddie pools that are at least about, they're like 3 feet deep, 4 feet deep, and they fill them with ice and water. And you get in with 4 people and sing The Wizard of Oz, Follow the Yellow Brick Road together. There's a bunch of practices about if you disconnect your brain from the fight or flight that is saying, crap, it's cold, you should run anywhere warm. And so if everyone in the group is singing Follow the Yellow Brick Road and getting in cold water, it helps disconnect the absolute extreme part of your body going, what the hell? But we thought we'd get ready. So we went up in the mountains with our friend and got in this cascading ice cold river, thinking that would be the way that would prep us for Wim Hof the next day. So we did that. And it was very cold, but we did it. But it's not as cold as if you put actual floating ice in it, like ice, and you become a giant cocktail of meditation. A cocktail of meditation. That's what we became. And it was really brilliant.
That's what we became. A cocktail of meditation.
A cocktail of meditation. So, yeah, it was really cool to meet Wim, and it was really cool to get access to his website and to be a part of that group, the first people in America to learn from him. And it's been really profound, and it's super trippy when people started. I think you've had some experience with this too, is that, the first time I was Wim Hof, there's a 60-day program. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And this is not because he's sponsoring us or anything. I'm just bringing it up. Wim, there's a 60-day thing where you spend 30 seconds, then a minute and a half in cold water, and then you work your way up to 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and you're doing the meditation while you're in cold water. And I personally keep the lights low. Some people use music, whatever, but your brain entrainment is going crazy. And I start seeing glowing dectrahedrons.
Dectrahedron?
Yes, that. I start seeing them, and they're orange and they're glowing, and they're coming at me, and I'm seeing these shapes, and I'm like, and mind you, you don't just see things, you feel your entire body. It's the best way I describe it is like a switch going off, and a whole bunch of systems you didn't know you had awareness of, you can then feel. And so I'm seeing these shapes. They're kind of bright orange. They're decently sized, and it was pretty freaky. So then I go online and find out that a lot of people doing this, the Wim Hof practice, are seeing the same thing. So you're not only controlling your inflammatory response, your immunity system's getting better, you're learning to control your heat and your cooling in various variable temperature environments, but there's a number of things going on with your blood. There's, pH balancing. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Simultaneously, you're naturally activating some of these asleep systems. And back to your pineal gland, here we are.
So with breath work, like one of the things, speaking of the blood, one of the things, if you've read the book Breath by James Nestor, so good. It's such a good book. he does this. He talks about at the beginning of the book this experiment, this where they do like mouth breathing versus nose breathing. It's all about like mouth versus nose breathing, you know, because
Okay.
that's super controversial and stuff. But
Yeah.
I love the way that he describes what breath work does in the body. So I'm going to probably just completely foobar this, but I'm going to do the best I can. So the way that he describes it is basically like a train station. Your blood is like a train station. And so the train comes in and the bad cells get off and the good cells, like every time you take a breath, right? It's like the train station.
Yeah.
So the good cells go in through your nose and then they run through your circulatory system. And then they come out as CO2, right? And so as you're breathing, and they're running through your body, they're picking up the damaged cells, the damaged parts of the cells, and they're putting in the good stuff in the cells.
Yeah.
But what we're so accustomed to now is not breathing. We're accustomed to holding our breath. So like I challenge anybody who's watching to like pay attention tomorrow to your breathing. Like as you move through your day, try to pay attention to the way that you're breathing and how many times you catch yourself not breathing. I do it all the time, and I practice breath work almost daily. And I catch myself not breathing all the time. Or when you're walking around with your shoulders up here, like you're not breathing, you're not relaxed, you're not catching your breath. And if you're taking short breaths from your chest, just like breathing slow, you're not unloading the bad and getting in the good. Like you've got to breathe deep from your gut, all the way in through your nose and out through your mouth in order to actually do anything good for your body. So there's a process to breathing. It's not as it's easy and simple and the breath of life, but there's a process to it, and you can't just jump in it thinking you know what you're doing. Like you got to study it. You got to practice it.
You're so right. You got to take time with it. It's definitely an area where no matter what, I don't know. Do you have a favorite kind of breath work? I mean, I don't just go to Wim Hof for that. I like all the medicinal and the other higher consciousness stuff, but there's a lot of different breath work. Do you have a favorite?
So currently I'm stuck on shamanic breath work. I love it so much. What was so weird too is on ayahuasca, the drums freaked me out so bad. I was just like, if I could just have some earplugs, like the drums, like just were so much, the shamanic drums were. But during breath work, I'm so calm. I love hearing like the native flute and the shamanic drum. And so currently, I'll get on YouTube, and we're not getting paid by him. I'm not getting paid to promote him or anything. But my favorite channel is Breathe by Sandy, and he does a lot of really great breathwork episodes. And one of his is a 22 minute maybe shamanic breathwork episode. And it's so good. I love it so much. He has like 5-minute Kundalini episodes and like all the different types of yoga breath work you could want to do, you could do there. It's amazing.
That's and that's just for everyone listening. And this is just something that would be worth your time to look into. But again, it's one of those, it's one more thing in the suite of stuff that we're up to that we're going to talk about more. Not to end that segment on it or anything, but it's just endlessly fun, isn't it?
Yes. It's just the practice of it getting deeper, because that's what you realize with everything, with yoga, with meditation, with breath work. That's what you realize is like the deeper you get into it, the more you practice, the more you stick to it, the more healing you feel, the better you feel, the happier you feel.
Do you ever
go ahead?
Oh no, I was sorry. I hold that thought or keep it. I wanted to know what you thought of the breath work you do. Do you ever do it throughout the day randomly, or do you always just schedule a time?
Yeah. Usually I do it before I go to bed just because it's super relaxing. But then every once in a while during the day, if I start feeling a little extra stressed, or I don't know, just that I want to, then I'll just do it randomly during the day. And usually during the day, I'll just do like a 15, 20-minute something. At night, I typically like a longer one. So there's a shamanic site that I found that has a native flute on YouTube that I like a whole lot. It's not breath work, but it's just the sound. But I can do the breath work myself. And so I just follow through, with the breath work at night, and can do it a little bit longer. So I'll usually do like 4 rounds at night, because it's usually that 4th round that just makes my mind go.
Do you like, do you prefer music or no music, or does it put you in different places when you do use music or don't?
I think it's different music puts me in different places.
Does it?
Yeah.
So you could almost have a toolbox of music for this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a mood thing.
Like, are you against
I'm
mood?
a woman. It just depends on if I have a headache when I get into bed. I don't know.
Would you say you have frequently lots of moods?
No. No, it's typically the same thing every night. I'm pretty habitual when it comes to what I like to hear. So
Yeah. Well,
I usually go to bed listening to some sort of shamanic stuff, and then wake up listening to some kind of calm, I don't know, whatever makes me feel happy. What do you do? What's your routine?
When I got into it, it was that, again, initially it was like, okay, how do you ramp up? And there was a specific 60-day protocol to ramp it up. So it was 3 to 4 rounds was the minimum, right? And that's what I was doing to begin with. It was 3 to 4 rounds. Then it became 4 to 6 rounds, and it was every day. And initially it was when I woke up, but then I found myself experimenting with different times of the day to see if that affected my experience at all. And also I was climbing a lot when I had started. So it was probably 6 days a week climbing. And I feel like the mental complexity of that and the physical fitness part of it mixed with this breath work, I felt like it was contributing to different experiences. When you start seeing geometric shapes, that's not the first thing that happens. The first thing that happens that I found was, and it wasn't always like, it wasn't the 4th round. I started to notice after a couple of weeks that I only had to do 2 rounds before I would get in that zone. And I was just there. I would have that buzzing, full body awareness, head to toe. It was like a pulsing system that I could control currents through it. It was like, I don't know how some people describe qigong or something like that, with that kind of energy direction and that kind of work, kind of like a Reiki.
And this was when you were doing breath work, or when you were climbing?
Yeah, no, while I'm doing the breath work, and
Okay.
and you're not always in cold water, so yeah, you do it sitting or laying down, just like any other breath work. And then the cold water part, there's a point where you're doing the breath work and you're in cold water, so you're training your mind and body both ways to connect all the dots. But you don't need to. You could actually do a lot of Wim Hof by just doing the breath work and not get cold if you want. But I definitely, it's like a switch.
Cold is hard. Cold is hard. It's hard to be cold.
You know what?
Especially if you're one of those that hates to be cold. I would love to know what Wim Hof knows and train my brain to take cold showers and enjoy it. I would love it. I just can't get there.
Well, you could get there. I'm not recommending it. Well, right. So the first time I did 30 seconds, folks, I want to tell you guys how far I went. 30 seconds. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do 30. Like 30 seconds was so hard. And so when you make it, so when you go to like 30 seconds becomes a minute and a half, becomes 5 minutes, becomes 10 minutes. And when you're able to do it, and again, you're doing the breath work and you're in the cold water. So you're not just burying it. You're not just standing there. You're doing the breath work and you're doing it. And there is a connection where you start to be able to increase your brown fat, which was said to be medically impossible, that brown fat is instant heat energy and it's all in us. And babies have a lot of it because apparently bad parenting babies can automatically heat themselves when they're too cold. And we're supposed to lose that fat as we get older. And one of the things they found was that WIMS, when they studied them, that his brown fat, which it's all in your neck and your shoulders, and it was the same. Basically, he had as much as if he was an infant. So he had basically built it back. So as you're getting cold, you can really literally control what's supposed to be your autonomic nervous system, and you can heat yourself up. And it's a really incredible ability. You can just cross your arms and walk without a jacket, and it could be freezing temperatures. And you can actually, there was times where I got to a point where I could make myself sweat while I'm walking outside just in a t-shirt. And that's interesting and cool. But when you're doing the breath work, there's this pH balancing going on with your body, and you could just not get cold. But I want everyone to know, I went from 30 seconds and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this, to I could do almost 40 minutes of cold shower and a meditative sequence, or I could do 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and then I would get out, and I had a balcony. It was pretty lovely, and I would just throw on some shorts, because I would just get out of the cold shower, and I would go directly out to the porch in 20 below, 15, 20 below, sit there in just the shorts and continue the breath work for 3 to 4 more rounds. And I was able to do that extremely comfortably. Mind you, the funny thing about doing Wim Hof is that pretty much, you don't really get your head wet, you get everything else. And so pretty much from my neck down, I look like a lobster, just completely wet.
With the just white tip.
Yeah, it opens all your blood vessels. And so you end up, your skin gets a lot of blood to it. It's really great. It's like capillary flexing. And they actually have some workarounds. A lot of people who get together to do the cold part of it, of the Wim Hofing, is their feet and their hands get cold. A lot of people have these problems with their hands and their feet, but your capillaries, basically, it's the theoretical thing is that, well, they flex just like anything else. And so if you develop the system, so you just take buckets of ice water and you would do cycles of cooling your hands and your feet, you could actually start training those extremities to not be cold by just working them out like a workout instead of lifting weights. You just like get them cold, let them warm up, get them cold, let them warm up. And that actually helps work around and fix that problem. So there's some tweaking. There's some really cool, also not endorsed by Wim Hof, folks, just going down a rabbit hole. Moving on.
Join us. In the rabbit hole. It never ends, and we don't know where it's going to go.
No, what will be fun is that for all the people we're going to interview and do shows with, we have some great partners, and like Wayne from Michigan UFO Sightings and Michael from Dark Hour Paranormal, and we'll certainly have a lot of guests on, but those two gentlemen, and I'm guessing Wayne's wife, Michelle, will join us for some stuff too, but those conversations are going to be fun. I mean, you're pretty excited about Sunday.
I'm pumped about Sunday because, listen, I'm an alien believer. Okay. And I just found out recently that some things have been going down in Brazil, and I just need some information on it. And I have a feeling that these guys, they got the deal. So I'm trying to find out, like what's going on. And everybody's talking about it. I don't know why. Like, it's a big secret. I don't know what you laughing at. Listen, it's a thing. Like, what was the dude's name at Cliff High? Cliff High supercomputer predicted that, like, on December 3rd, it was 29 days after 29 days. That's right. I don't remember. So many days after the Rogan interview with Trump, 39 days. It was 39 days after the Rogan interview with Trump that there was going to be this UAP military deal in the skies. Okay, right? So it wasn't like December 3rd to date, but it was basically the same week that all of this sudden, all this weird stuff starts showing up in the sky. And I'm just like, okay, like there's something to it. Okay. And then I hear about these like alien the people eating aliens in Brazil. No, alien eating people in Brazil.
Don't
And
go
I'm
too
just
far.
like, and I'm not going too far. I'm just saying, like, I need to know answers. Like, I need to know what's going on. I need to know, like, and then I watched this thing today about this professor that said something about them. This is silly. I'm not even going to say it. I can't say
it. Say it. Don't just do it.
This is silly.
Don't say it. This is the real reason we're podcasting. Keep going.
This professor, I'm pretty sure even Rogan like called, he's like, I love him, but he's silly. He says some silly stuff. Okay. This professor said that the moon was, this was like back in the 70s, right? So, like the 70s. So this professor said that the moon was put in place as a satellite 30 years ago, which would have been the 20s. Okay. So, right? Yeah. 30. Yeah, that would have been the 20s. Okay. So,
how many years ago?
30. So
30.
from
So it would have been 1990?
It was in 1970. Yeah, I think it was a 70s lecture.
Okay. So he's saying like somewhere in the 30s, the moon was placed.
No, he said 30 years before that.
Right. So from the 70s.
From the 70s.
Which would put it in the 40s, I guess.
Yeah. God, small math. 40s. Okay. So he's saying that the moon was placed in the 40s as a satellite in the 40s. In the 40s.
Why?
The moon was placed in the 40s. I'm sorry. Are there not cave drawings or something of the moon from like millions of years ago? But apparently it got put there. I just can't. You know what I mean? So that's what this show is.
Yeah.
This show is a total, and excuse all of the issues that we've had to work through. Like, you're still doing this whole thing. And like all of this is just, everything is
am I still focusing now? Like right now?
No.
Okay.
You're just in and out. I mean, we'll fix it. It's fine. Next episode, perfect. This was a quick run through.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, obviously you watching on Not Aliens, or when you check in later, you're going to see a lot of new stuff. There's going to be our platform, RKEOX.com. I haven't mentioned it in a few minutes, but RKEOX.com. You will see that we have this video and all of our soon to be exciting interviews, including Michael Cremo. They will all be out on the platform, and you'll be able to watch directly on RKEOX.com. You will not need to go to YouTube or somewhere else. But yes, we will enjoy placing all this information on Instagram and, all the social medias will be out, including Facebook.
Okay, so I'll be running the social medias. Okay, this dude here, we're gonna put it on the Instagram and the all the social medias. I got it.
And the X. I've avoided. But you know what? They are great platforms. We need to get a lot of info out there quick and shorter and more digestible. And that's what we're going to do that for. Some of the interviews are going to be long. We're going to spend a lot of time on go deep diving on stuff. Just, that's just not going to be for everybody at all the times. And we will have the shorter, quick edits of things that you might find interesting. We'll be doing that too. And when we're out on expeditions and when we're out exploring things, I've been out to the East Coast a couple times. There's actually an option for us to go. I haven't brought this up with you. There's an option for us to go to Montauk every year. Michael Roser, of course, he's done a couple documentaries. He's doing some more. There's been a number of great people. D'Souza. There have been a number of people that have commented on, that have been a part of Michael's initial documentary, but the work that they continue to do to unravel the mysteries of what was Montauk all about, what's still going on there. There's been new developments. That's just an idea for you guys to know that the mysteries we're looking for are not always across the continents or in another country. There's a lot of crazy things here, caves and moon-eyed people and ant people, and it's just wherever it takes us within the year, we'll have you guys on
That's
site.
another thing that professor said, was that there are 2,100 grays between here and the moon. But that was in the 70s though. So, but apparently they castrated their females so they couldn't reproduce. So that number is probably less. I don't think this professor, I don't know. We'll have to check into him.
Hold on. So 2,500 people, aliens?
2,100 grays between
were
the Earth, because there's all these caverns and caves and like systems in the Earth.
Okay.
And the moon. He also said that. And he also said that he gave a number about reptilians, and he made sure to say that reptilians hated humans. So I'm just like, I think that he was just a silly. Some things he said was just silly.
I kind of, if any of that stuff was recorded, I kind of would like to get it out there just to see what he's talking about. We could do kind of more of a commentary thing on it. We could just play some of the video.
Okay.
Actually, why don't we do that with a bunch of the old ones? Just
okay.
Okay. All right. So that's on our list of to-dos now. We could shorten and for all the social medias, we can just shorten to some of these parts where we've come up with the good ideas, and we'll just put this part out.
We'll just stick with those.
Yeah, except for the part where I gotta stop moving for the blurring part. I realized right about here's the sweet spot, I think.
It's making me dizzy.
I'm not blurring, right?
No.
All right.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add before we do our really cool new outro bumper?
I don't think so. I think that's about it. I just hope that whoever joined us today joins us next week.
Yeah, we can. So we're going to put this out. Next week is going to be on Michigan UFO sightings. Wayne Braden and Michelle. We're going to be guesting on their normal platform. This will be this Sunday. What time again, Kristi?
8. I'm not sure. 8. Will confirm on the website.
I think you're right. It might be. We'll do that, but it should be tomorrow. And I'm sorry, Sunday. I think it was 8 Eastern. I think it's 8 Eastern. But for all of you for all of you that watch this in the future and bared with us, we're really excited to be bringing you all this now. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Right. Well, just hold on and let's do our outro, and I'll be right back with you.